I got home early on Friday, which is code for I ran out of patience at work. The garage door squeaked, the house was quiet, until I heard Claire's voice. Wine glass, speakerphone, female laughter. "Okay, Claire, you need to pull back," Brooke said, like she was coaching an athlete instead of ruining a marriage. 10 to 14 days. No texting first, no compliments. Let him feel the silence. Jess giggled. My sister did it. Day 10, he brought flowers. Day 12, he planned a trip. Day 14, he cried. It was adorable. Claire hesitated. "I don't know. Nathan's not the panicking type." "That's exactly why you should do it," Brooke said. "Calm men are the most complacent." Jess giggled. "You'll see, he'll melt." Trust me, I stood there with my hand still on the door handle, processing. 10 to 14 days of silence, a test, a game. All right then, if she wanted to see what life looked like without me talking, I could give her a full-color demonstration. No yelling, no pleading, just gravity, slow, quiet, unstoppable. I was still thinking that when I heard another voice from inside, male this time. "Ladies, sounds like Claire's got this handled," Mark said. His tone was warm, casual, the kind that could sell sunscreen in winter. "Some space might do both of you good." He laughed softly. "Besides, if he's too dumb to notice her pulling away, maybe he doesn't deserve her attention anyway." I peeked around the corner. Mark was lounging against the counter, beer in hand, the unofficial family friend who never missed an opportunity to hang around when I wasn't home. Claire smiled at him. "Thanks, Mark. It's just a little reset." "Sure," he said. "You deserve peace, Claire." Right then, my inner alarm went off. Reset, peace, maintenance, translation. "We're building the script for your exit, buddy." She hung up and turned, jumped a little when she saw me. "Oh, you're home early." "Yeah," I said. "Boss said I was too productive, sent me away for safety reasons." She smiled awkwardly. "I'm trying something new." Less talking. More self-focus. "Sounds healthy," I said. "You want coffee?" "I'm cutting caffeine." "Right. Cutting communication and caffeine. Bold strategy." She frowned. "Don't be sarcastic." "Not sarcasm. Observation. You're detoxing from me and beans." That earned me an eye roll and the sound of her heading upstairs. Mark stayed, pretending to scroll his phone. "Hey man," he said, "she's just figuring stuff out." "Don't take it personal, noted. She'll realize she misses you." "Maybe," he smirked. "Or maybe you'll realize you like the quiet." I gave him a look. He raised his beer like a toast. "Either way, you'll come out lighter." Day 1. Claire tried her new distance technique. It was like living with a polite ghost who still used Wi-Fi. "Hey," I said while cooking dinner. "Chicken or pasta?" She didn't look up. "Whatever." Perfect, the chef's favorite word. We ate mostly in silence. I asked a few neutral questions. She answered like a chatbot with bad service. "How was your day?" "Fine." "Project going well?" "Sure." "Cool. I exist too, by the way." A tiny twitch at the corner of her mouth, then nothing. After dinner, she disappeared upstairs. I stayed at the table, chewing on the quiet. Then I opened my laptop and did something dangerous. Thought. If she wanted a test, I'd grade it my way. No confrontation, no drama, just careful subtraction. I started a list of what was mine, what was ours, what I didn't care about. Halfway through, Mark texted. "Give her space, man. She's under pressure. Don't chase her." Right. The guy who just told her she deserved peace now told me to be chill. Smooth. I typed back, "Thanks for the wisdom, Socrates." He replied with a thumbs-up emoji. I considered blocking his philosophy feed. Day 2 morning. Claire in leggings, pretending the blender is her therapist. "Morning," I said. "Hi. Sleep okay?" "Mm-hmm." "Cool. I dreamed we were talking wild fantasy." She shot me a glare that could crisp toast. At lunch, she was too busy for food, so I left a plate anyway. By evening, she'd eaten half. Progress, I guess. We crossed paths in the hallway. She said, "I'll be out with Brooke and Jess tonight." I said, "Cool." I'll be home with silence and inner growth that got me a confused blink. "You're taking this well." "Yeah," I said, "because if I stop talking, I can finally hear myself think." Turns out I'm hilarious. She left shaking her head. Day 3. Brooke and Jess called her on video again. She was in the living room. I was in the kitchen making coffee loud enough for them to know I existed. Brooke: "He's still calm?" Claire: "Yes. Almost too calm, Jess." "That's good. Means he's pretending. Men always pretend first." Mark's voice joined in. Of course he was on the call. "Or maybe he's realizing how serious you are, Claire. Sometimes letting a man see you don't need him wakes him up." I muttered, "Or makes him pack faster." She turned. "What?" "Talking to the coffee machine," I said. "We're bonding." After the call, she looked thoughtful. "You're really not upset?" "Nope." "That's weird." "I contain multitudes," I said. "Mostly sarcasm." She sighed. "Nathan, this is just me taking space. I'm not breaking up with you." "Relax," I said lightly. "If you were, you'd have printed instructions." She frowned. "You're making jokes, but I'm serious." "I know," I said. "That's what makes it funny." She groaned and went upstairs. 10 minutes later, Mark texted, "She says you're joking too much. Maybe show some emotion, then pull back. Keep her guessing." He was giving me dating advice about my own wife. I replied, "Mark, if I wanted confusion, I'd talk to customer support." No answer. That evening I cooked tacos, because life might be falling apart, but salsa fixes morale. Claire hovered near the counter, inhaling like she wanted to fight, but the smell disarmed her. "Taco night?" she asked. "Every night can be, if you believe in yourself." She cracked a smile. "You're ridiculous, yet oddly consistent." She ate too, trying not to enjoy them. Afterward she said, "I'm heading out. Movie with friends." "Which friends?" "Just people." "Right. The mysterious people. I've heard good things." She rolled her eyes and left. When she was gone, I glanced at the half-empty couch, the quiet TV, the stillness. I should have been angry. I wasn't. Mostly, I was curious how many days it would take for her to realize that while she was testing me, the test had already flipped. By day 4, I started calling the whole thing the Silence Project. Claire didn't know I'd named it, but it deserved branding. She woke up early, hummed loudly, and avoided eye contact like it was bad luck. She even started journaling at the kitchen table. Dramatic sighs, deep thoughts, the whole performance. "Morning," I said, passing by. She nodded, writing something down like she was chronicling life in the trenches. Mark texted that morning, "Give her space. Don't try to talk first. Let her wonder." Sure. Meanwhile, I had my own wonder. How many boxes fit in a sedan? I'd already cleared the garage shelf, transferred some savings to a separate account, and contacted an old friend who managed rentals downtown, just in case, for science. At lunch, I made sandwiches. Claire stayed upstairs. I left one on the counter with a note, "Still alive, in case you were worried." The other resident. She didn't respond, but the sandwich disappeared. Victory in the small leagues. That evening, Mark came by to check on the garden. We don't have a garden. We have 2 depressed bushes and a weed with leadership potential. He leaned on the doorframe, beer in hand, easy smile. "Hey, man. She around?" "Upstairs," I said. He nodded like that was excellent news. "You two doing okay?" "Sure," I said. "Silent retreat, but without the yoga?" He chuckled. "Sometimes that distance helps. Makes her think about what she really wants." "Yeah," I said. "Let's hope she doesn't realize it's less talking and more walking." He grinned. "Ha, don't be dramatic." "Dramatic would be keying her car," I said. "I'm going more minimalist." Mark smirked. "That calm attitude might backfire, Women want reaction, fire, emotion noted. I said. "I'll set myself on fire later." He laughed again, but I could tell he was watching me carefully, like a guy making sure the ship sinks properly before offering the lifeboat to someone else's wife. When he left, he knocked on Claire's door upstairs. I heard his voice through the floorboards, low, gentle, too long for just a, "Hey, how's it going?" I wrote another list that night. Not of belongings, of timing. How many more days until she realizes the silence is mutual? Day 5. Claire started dressing up to run errands. Lip gloss, earrings, yoga pants that could get someone arrested for looking too long. "Going somewhere special?" I asked. "Just groceries?" "Right. The kind of groceries that text you later." She rolled her eyes. "You're funny when you're insecure, and you're brave when you're pretending." That one hit home. She hesitated, then left without another word. When Claire came back, she had a new plant. She placed it on the windowsill like it symbolized growth. "Nice plant," I said. "What's its name, Rebound?" She sighed. "You don't have to mock everything." "I mock because I care," I said. That got me a half smile. Then she left the room again. The plant died 2 days later. Poetic. Silence Day 6 felt like living with a roommate who owes you emotional rent. She was watching a movie on the couch when Mark dropped by again. "Just passing by." "Yeah, sure." The man apparently jogged through our neighborhood exclusively when I was home. "Hey, Claire," he said smoothly. "Didn't know you'd be in." "You live 5 blocks away, Mark?" I said. "You did know." He grinned. "Neighborhood pride, man." "Just checking on my favorite couple," Claire laughed. "We're surviving." Mark nodded. "Survival's overrated. You should be thriving." She tilted her head. "Exactly." I watched the mutual nodding session with the same enthusiasm people reserve for dental surgery. When Mark went to grab a drink from the fridge without asking, bold move, I caught him in the doorway. "You're real comfortable here," I said quietly. He smiled. "Someone's got to keep her company if you're on your inner peace trip." "Someone's got to know when to leave before peace turns into homicide," I said, still smiling. He lifted his hands in mock surrender. "Easy, Zen Master." I let him go, but noted something new in my head. Day 6. Mark getting confident. Day 7. Claire's experiment was running on fumes. She'd gone from distant to awkward, from awkward to slightly guilty. Brooke and Jess were on speaker again giving their motivational nonsense. "Brooke, he's not reacting? Perfect. He's probably dying inside, Jess." "Hold the line, babe." Men always break by week 2. Mark's voice joined in again. How was he always in these calls? He said, smooth as ever, "Maybe she's the one who deserves better energy." Claire's light. "She just needs space to shine," Brooke squealed. "Oh my God, Mark gets it." I nearly choked on my coffee. Mark gets it, all right. Gets every opening he can. After the call, Claire looked uneasy. "They think you're too calm." "Tell them it's my new charm." "Nathan, seriously, are you just done talking?" "No," I said. "I'm just speaking in longer intervals." She sighed. "You're infuriating." "Yet strangely soothing," I said. She shook her head and went to her room. The door closed, and I smiled for real this time. Because now she wasn't the only one running an experiment. Mine was simpler. Find out what happens when the quiet one stops waiting to be understood and starts packing instead. By day 8, I realized this whole thing had become Claire's full-time personality. She'd officially turned silence into a lifestyle brand. She moved through the house in slippers, holding a cup of herbal tea like she was auditioning for a mindfulness commercial. I was at the kitchen table checking emails when she sat across from me with a notebook titled My Emotional Reset. Yeah, that was a real thing she bought. "Morning," I said. "Hi," she replied without looking up. "Writing a novel or a breakup speech?" She frowned. "You think you're funny?" "I know I'm funny. The question is, are you writing about me?" She sighed, scribbled something and muttered, "Some people can't handle self-reflection." I handle it great, I said. Especially when I'm the one doing the reflecting. Her pen froze for half a second before she stood up, grabbed her tea and left. Smooth exit minus the sound of the spoon clinking like an angry bell. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Mark. Again. You should let her have her space. She needs room to miss you. Translation. Stop existing so she can miss me instead. I typed back, thanks, Dr. Phil. How's your therapy license? No reply. By noon, I'd packed up the last of my winter clothes and moved them to the car. Not suspiciously, just casually, like a man doing spring cleaning with long-term goals. I looked around the garage. Everything still looked the same. But to me, the house was already half empty. When Claire came down for lunch, I'd made sandwiches. I left one for her with a sticky note. For research purposes only. The silent subject. She read it, shook her head, but smiled. Tiny cracks. Always the cracks first. Day 9. Mark showed up again. At this point, I was starting to think he had a secret job as our household pest. He leaned against the counter, his usual position, beer in hand, smug little smirk on his face. Hey, man, just checking in, he said. Great, I said. Consider me checked. He chuckled. You and Claire seem a little tense. You don't say. He shrugged. Look, sometimes space is good. Maybe she's realizing what she wants. Uh-huh, I said. And what's that? He smiled like a man who enjoyed puzzles with obvious answers. Peace? Balance? Someone who listens? Someone like you, right? He laughed too loud. Whoa, calm down. I'm not auditioning good, I said. Because casting's closed. He gave a friendly pat on my shoulder, which in male language means, I'd steal your wife if I could, but I want to look casual about it. Claire came home right then. Hairstyled, new dress, that too bright, nothing's going on energy. Mark jumped in to help with groceries before I could even move. She smiled. Mark was just nearby. So nice of him to help? Yeah, I said. He's basically our neighborhood saint. Stop, she said, laughing. Mark smirked. I try my best. I bet you do, I said. He didn't respond, but the look he gave me said everything. Go ahead, man. Keep being quiet. That night, after they both disappeared into the living room, just to chat, I quietly pulled down our wedding photo and set it face down in the drawer. Not out of anger, just clarity. Day 10. Claire spent most of the day glued to her phone, laughing, typing, deleting, typing again. You know the kind of smile people have when they're texting someone they shouldn't? Yeah, that one. I leaned on the doorframe. Who's got you smiling like that? Brooke, she said instantly, too instantly. Brooke's hilarious, huh? She is, actually. Yeah, she should start a comedy club. You two can headline. She rolled her eyes. You're paranoid. I'm bored, I said. Paranoia's just my hobby until you talk again. She scoffed, grabbed her purse, and walked away. Mark texted 15 minutes later. Don't overthink, man. She's just venting. If she feels watched, she'll shut down. He was good. Really good. I replied, if manipulation were a sport, you'd have gold. Still no reply. Probably too busy listening to Claire. That night she found me in the garage eating cereal straight from the box. Seriously? She said. You don't even use a bowl now? Why bother? I said. Fewer dishes, fewer memories. She shook her head, half amused, half exasperated. You're unbelievable. I've been called worse. She paused at the door. You're taking this too lightly. Or maybe, I said, you're taking it too seriously. We stared at each other for a moment, two people living the same day on different planets. After she went upstairs, I finished taping a box labeled office stuff and slid it quietly into the trunk. By now, leaving felt easier than staying quiet. Day 11. Tension thick enough to cut with a butter knife. She moved around the kitchen like she was trying to avoid a landmine, which technically was me. Morning, I said. Hi. Sleep okay? Fine. Dreamed of me? She gave me that blank stare reserved for bad jokes and small crimes. Can you not? Just trying to fill the silence. Well, don't. I smiled. Copy that. We ate breakfast separately. She at the counter, me at the table. I could feel the air buzzing with unspoken sentences. Finally, she said, "You're too calm. It's weird. I'm matching your energy." That's not how this works. Then maybe the manual's broken. She slammed her mug down a little too hard. You're impossible. Consistently, I said. Then came the kicker. She pulled out her phone and said, "Mark's dropping by later. He's helping me fix the shelf. Again? That shelf gets more attention than I do." She rolled her eyes. "He's just helping, Nathan." "Yeah," I said. "He's good at that. Helping himself into situations." She sighed. "You're jealous." "Of Mark?" "No," I said. "I'm allergic." She walked away before I could say more, probably for the best. That afternoon, Mark came by, again with his casual, just checking in smile. I let him in, watched him talk to her while pretending not to. Their laughter sounded rehearsed. When he left, he gave me a pat on the shoulder again and said, "Hang in there, man. Sometimes it's better to let go before it gets toxic." I nodded. "You'd know." He didn't reply. That night the house was too quiet. Claire was upstairs, I was in the garage. 2 boxes left. I stacked them carefully, looked at the car, and said out loud, 14 days, right? Let's see who breaks first, day 12. The morning started suspiciously pleasant. Claire was humming while making tea, a sound I hadn't heard in over a week. I should have felt relieved, but when someone who's been ignoring you suddenly acts sweet, it's never good news. "Morning," I said. "Hi," she smiled. "You want breakfast?" I squinted. "Who are you and what did you do with my wife?" She laughed softly. "Funny, I just thought maybe I've been tense." "Tense is one word," I said. I had others in mind. She rolled her eyes, but it was playful this time. She even sat down at the table, voluntarily. I wasn't sure if I should enjoy it or brace for impact. "So," she said, sipping her tea, "I might invite a few people over this weekend. Just a small dinner thing. Who's coming?" "Brooke, Jess, maybe Mark." "Of course, Mark." "Wouldn't want to break tradition. Nathan," she warned. I held up my hands. "I'm just saying I might start charging him rent." She sighed. "You're impossible." "Consistently," I said. "It's my charm." Truthfully, I didn't care who she invited anymore, because by the weekend, I wouldn't be here to greet them. That afternoon, I finalized the lease with my friend. He texted me the new address and a lock code. I stared at it for a long moment, not nervous, just ready. By night, the house looked different to me. Everything still in place, but emotionally, it was stripped clean, like the furniture had been replaced with distance. Claire noticed me standing in the hallway, hands in pockets. She asked, "You okay?" "I'm great," I said. "You?" "I think I'm figuring things out." "Me too," I said quietly. We stood there for a second. She looked like she wanted to say more, but she didn't. And neither did I. Day 13. She woke up early to clean the house. I mean really clean. Like full exorcism level. Candles, air freshener, vacuum lines so perfect you could measure time by them. I watched from the stairs. "Big event?" She jumped a little. "Dinner tomorrow. I want the place to look nice." "Ah," I said. "Nothing says romance like freshly vacuumed regrets." She glared. "You don't have to be rude." "I'm not," I said, "just observational commentary." Around noon, Brooke and Jess came over to help. Their voices carried through the house like a bad motivational podcast. "Brooke, he'll realize he messed up. Just act confident, Jess." "Exactly." Day 14 is when they break. I was in the garage, packing tools into a box labeled random stuff, when I heard Mark's voice join them. Perfect. The full cast. He greeted them like he owned the place. "Ladies," he said, his tone smooth as oil. Someone's glowing. Claire's doing great, Brooke said. She's finally setting boundaries. Good for her, Mark replied. She deserves someone who sees her. I almost laughed out loud. He was good. Slimy, but good. Later that day, when everyone left, Claire came to find me. She stood in the doorway, hands on her hips. You've been quiet. Trying out your lifestyle, I said. Feels oddly freeing. Do you ever get tired of being sarcastic? Not yet. But if I do, I'll call Mark. He seems very supportive lately. Her jaw tightened. He's a friend. Sure, I said. He's a friend to both of us. Just one of us doesn't realize it's a short-term offer. She looked hurt, but also unsure. Like she wasn't even certain if I was wrong. That night she cooked dinner. Real dinner, not the I reheated something kind. Pasta, salad, candlelight. For a moment, it felt almost normal again. Then she said, Nathan, I think this space thing helped. I feel more balanced now. That's great, I said. Balance is important. I know I've been distant, but I think we just needed a reset. Sure, I said. Resets are nice, especially when they come with dinner. She smiled awkwardly. You could try meeting me halfway, you know. I am halfway, I said. Halfway out the door. Her fork froze midair. What's that supposed to mean? Exactly what it sounds like. Nathan, she said, voice trembling slightly. You're joking, right? Not this time. She stared at me, confused. You're angry. I'm not angry, I said softly. Just done. Day 14. The day of her grand finale. She spent the morning setting the table. Candles, wine glasses, everything arranged perfectly. It was meant to be the big emotional comeback, the proof her little test had worked. I watched quietly from the doorway. You've gone all out, I said. She smiled nervously. I just wanted us to have a nice night. That's thoughtful, I said. Almost makes me wish I was staying. She frowned. What? I glanced at the clock. 6:45 p.m. Dinner starts at 7, right? Yes, why? Because I don't want to ruin your party. Mark and the girls will be here soon, right? Nathan, what are you talking about? I reached into my pocket, pulled out my keys, and placed them on the counter. You wanted silence. I gave it to you. You wanted distance. You got that too. Congratulations. Experiment complete. She stared at the keys like they were a grenade. You're leaving? Yeah, I said calmly. I've been leaving for a while. You just didn't notice tears welled up. Nathan, please don't do this. It was supposed to help us. Help who, Claire? You wanted control, not connection. She stepped closer. I didn't mean, yeah, I said. Nobody ever does. The doorbell rang. She froze. I looked past her toward the door. Brooke, Jess, and Mark's silhouettes behind frosted glass. Your audience is here, I said. Enjoy the show. She whispered, please, don't walk out right now. I smiled sadly. You taught me to. 14 days of silence, remember? I walked past her, opened the door, nodded at the three of them. Brooke's smile died instantly. Jess looked guilty. Mark tried to look sympathetic and failed. Hey, man, he started, but I just handed him my house key. Take care of her, I said. You've been practicing. Then I left. No shouting, no slamming doors, just silence, the kind she thought she wanted. When I got into my car, I looked back once. Through the window, I saw her standing frozen between the candles and the half-set table, surrounded by people who suddenly didn't know what to say. She wanted proof I'd still chase her. Instead, she got proof I'd learned to walk away. When I left that night, I didn't expect the silence to echo so loud. By the time I reached the new apartment, my phone was already vibrating nonstop. Claire's name. Again and again. Missed calls, voice messages, long texts that sounded like panic dressed up as clarity. Please call me. I didn't mean it. Nathan, I messed up. You can't just walk away like that. Please! I didn't answer. Not out of cruelty, just peace. For the first time in months, I was finally somewhere quiet, and it wasn't hostile. The walls didn't hum with tension. The air didn't feel like an argument waiting to happen. I sat on the couch with a mug of bad instant coffee, watching city lights blink through the blinds. It wasn't much, but it was mine. And more importantly, it was calm. The next evening there was a knock at my door. I didn't need to check who it was. I could already feel that familiar nervous rhythm behind it. When I opened, she was standing there, hair messy, eyes red, still wearing the same sweater from that last night. It wasn't defiance anymore. It was regret. "Can we talk?" she asked quietly. I stepped aside. "You're already here." She walked in slowly, looking around the place like it had betrayed her. "It's so quiet," she said. "That's kind of the point." She turned toward me. "I didn't mean to lose you, Nathan. I just wanted to fix things." "You wanted to fix me," I said. "Big difference." Her eyes filled instantly. "I thought you'd fight harder. I thought that meant you cared." "I did care," I said. "I cared enough to stay for years. I just stopped caring about being tested like a student in your emotional science fair." She shook her head. "That's not fair." "It's honest," I said calmly. "You wanted to see what I'd do if you pulled away?" "Well, I walked." She looked at the floor, voice trembling. "I didn't want this." Neither did I, but I learned something in those 2 weeks. Silence doesn't always mean punishment. Sometimes it's a preview of peace. She stepped closer. "Can we start over?" I let out a quiet laugh. "Start over?" "Claire, we already know how this story ends. You'll build a new set of rules, and I'll try to pass another test. And one day I'll wake up wondering why I'm still proving my worth in a marriage that forgot what love looks like." Her chin trembled. "I'm not with Mark. I swear to you." "I know," I said, "and I also know it doesn't matter. Because the minute you started listening to him instead of me, we were already done." She stared at me for a moment, tears streaming, then whispered, "I miss you." "I miss the version of us that laughed," I said, "not the one that kept score." She tried to smile, but it didn't hold. When she finally turned to leave, she stopped at the door. "You really aren't coming back?" I shook my head. "I'm not angry anymore, Claire. Just free." She nodded slowly, then walked out, closing the door with a softness that hurt more than any slam. 3 days later, I went to a lawyer. No drama, no shouting, just a quiet office, soft lights, and paperwork that smelled like closure. When I signed my name on the line, I felt something click inside. Not sadness, not victory, just peace. That night, Claire sent one last message. "I signed too. I hope someday you forgive me." I replied, "Already did, just not enough to stay." Then I put my phone face down, made myself dinner for one, and sat on the balcony watching the city flicker. The silence that once tore us apart now felt like home. A few months later, life found its rhythm again. My mornings started with black coffee instead of quiet arguments, and my evenings ended without someone analyzing the way I breathed. Turns out peace makes a better roommate than guilt. Claire and I finalized the divorce without fireworks. She cried during the signing. I didn't. Not because I didn't feel anything, just because I'd already done my mourning back when she called our love an experiment. Mark tried to stick around for a while. You could see it all over him. The comforting friend turned hopeful candidate. Rumor had it he hovered for months, waiting for his promotion from supportive buddy to new boyfriend. It never came. Claire eventually saw him the way I always did. Predictable, safe, and boring in high definition. She moved on. He didn't. And me? I didn't date right away. Didn't need to. There's a certain pleasure in knowing that the guy who spent 2 weeks circling your marriage ended up trapped in the orbit of her regrets. Every time I think of Mark still trying to impress her while she scrolls past his texts, I can't help but smile. Some men chase what others walk away from. And me? I just kept walking. If you felt this story hit hard, Drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.